When did prom became such a mean girl experience? I cannot even begin to tell you some of the things that happened today. So today is President's Day. So this is a big day for shopping in February because everyone's off from school. So they're looking for their prom dresses. Moms are coming in with them. And everyone's been great for the most part, but you always got that handful of people that make you question every life choice you've ever made. Today's situation entails a mom calling me nonstop about a prom dress that I sold to someone else, not to her daughter. Now, mind you, her daughter was in my store back in December and fell in love with a gown that I had 5 dresses of. I bought them in a size run because they were gorgeous. And I knew that this was going to be a great dress. And I have clients from all over the U.S., not just from Illinois. People come in from the Midwest all over, from Wisconsin, from Michigan, from Iowa, and Indiana, and even from Missouri as a regular. And our state of Illinois is pretty big. So there's a lot of high schools. So I'm not worried about covering different states. When people call me, I ask them what their school name is, and I take note of it because I do not sell the same dress to the same school out of common courtesy. Plus, I think it feels a little more exclusive, right? So when this girl came in and fell in love with this dress and didn't buy it, I'm like, well, it's December. I'm not surprised that she didn't buy it because she does have time. But now we're in February, and proms are starting next month in March. She never came back to get that dress, right? Okay, cool. Well, today I have a girl that falls in love with this gown and says, I want it, I'll take it. Now, mind you, I had 5 of this dress back in December. I'm down to 2. And now that she bought the one, I only have 1 left. So this mom calls me of the girl that did not buy the dress originally back in December. And she says, well, I wanted to know if you still have the dress in stock. I'm like, I do have 1 dress left. It's a size 2. Well, the dress that she tried on was a size 10. That dress is gone. And she says this to me, and I say, I know, we've sold it. Well, who did you sell it to? I'm like, I can't tell you who I sold it to. And I guess every school has like different ways of keeping track of them. Some are very strict, where they actually have like a Facebook page and they all post their dress so that no one has the same dress. And other schools don't give a flying you know what, because it's not a school issue. If you guys all want to have different dresses, that's great. You keep track of it. You guys talk amongst each other. This particular school actually listed the dresses, and she had this girl that bought the dress from me posted the dress on that page, and it was approved. She bought the dress. Well, the girl that is upset that she didn't get the dress is a cheerleader for the high school, while the other girl is just somebody that isn't, okay? And so now we get the mean girl thing happening. But it's not the daughter, it's not the high school goer that's actually being nasty, it's the mother. She needs to take that dress back from that girl because my daughter wanted that dress. I said, okay, can you tell me when your appointment was? Because at this point, I kind of know who it is. But I wanted to confirm because I didn't want to make assumptions and make an a-hole out of myself, right? So I asked her, and she goes, I'm so-and-so, my appointment was for this day. I look it up, sure enough it was. I'm like, well, you didn't buy it. It's been 2 months since you've been, 2.5 months since you've been here. In the meantime, I've sold a number of these dresses. It wasn't just that one that I sold. Remember, I had 5 of this dress. I'm down to 1. So 4 other girls have this dress already. And one of them went to your school. I'm sorry. You should have acted on it then or sooner. But it actually sold today, President's Day, February 17th. This is unbelievable. Well, I mean, my daughter can go to another store and buy that dress, I'm like, okay, unless you got it someplace else. But she didn't get it here. And I can only guarantee what I sell in my store. So that's exactly what she ends up doing, it turns out, right? So now, this was around like 9 o'clock this morning that I got the initial phone call to find out if I even had the dress. And it is now 3 o'clock on the 17th. I have already taken care of 6 other brides that had come in earlier and quite a few prom girls that were here too. During that entire time, not only did they go and buy this dress in another store, supposedly, they had managed to call the girl and harass her and say, well, you can't wear that dress because I'm wearing it. When you're supposed to supposedly put this dress up on some Facebook page to approve it. She clearly hasn't approved it because they wouldn't have approved it because this girl already has it, my girl. And this mom is screaming at me that I need to go and take that dress back. Absolutely freaking not, because here's the thing. Even if I was to be shady, I won't do it for you because this girl acted on it. She fell in love with it. She had her moment. She bought it from me. So I guarantee my clients that exclusivity. I can't guarantee it for you from another store. And it's not because I'm rude. It's not because anyone's rude. It's because that's how the system works. We buy dresses from all over the place. Now, imagine all these girls are going to department stores and buying their dresses. Would you call up Macy's and make them take the dress back? Would you do this to Macy's or Nordstrom? Would you do this to anybody? How about calling Amazon when you girls are all buying your damn dresses on Amazon and doing this? Are you going to call Amazon and yell at Prime for selling the same dress to 27 girls because they want to save a buck? Because then who even knows if they're wearable to begin with. But I mean, people do that, you know? Like, I don't understand how this mean girl stuff started, because at this point I'm ready to call the police and file a police report for harassment, because I've already had 6 phone calls since this morning about this. Not to mention the fact it's interrupting all my appointments that are coming in. And she's already managed to have her dad call me and say that if I don't do something about this, like, he's going to get involved. And what are you going to do, sir? What are you going to do? I love what I freaking do. Please stop trying to make me hate it. Please, because I love it. I love every single one of my clients. But why is this suddenly my problem? You cannot do this to people. Can we all have some sense? There are so many other dresses. Let me show you something else. Maybe I have something better. Things are still coming in. I don't understand why people do that and get so hung up. I am not kidding. If I get one more phone call, let this be known. I'm calling the police. I'm going to file a police report here. And I might just as well call the police in her city, because she's harassing this girl and defend this girl. Because I'm afraid for this girl's life at this point. Because I've heard that they've already managed to egg her car and egg her house. Over a dress? You guys, get real. It's not that serious. I know prom, I'm getting worked up here. I'm all about prom being a rite of passage. You guys know that I really want everyone to have a beautiful dress and feel amazing in it. But do you guys know how you're stealing from this poor girl that bought her dress? She will forever remember this. You're being bullies. And mom that is defending this girl that shopped with me back in December, you're a bully too. You're a bully to me and to everybody else. And to think that you threatening me is going to cause me to want to work harder for you. I actually don't even want you in my store anymore. And if you have friends that act the way that you do, that behave this way by being a bully and trying to tell people that it's okay to harass people because your daughter wants a dress that you didn't buy for her back in December, when now it's a month to prom, I don't know, like, what planet am I on? It's a dress. And if adults are bullying adults, then why are we surprised that it's happening in high school? You guys are raising kids this way. I have a son, God help you. I'm not kidding. This mean girl thing needs to end. And I'm not at all surprised that parents are going into freaking schools right now and losing their absolute minds about bullying and harassment. This is uncalled for. I won't stand for it. I will defend my client. I hope my client, oh my God, I hope my client has the best freaking day on her prom day. I don't even know what to say, but I want to protect her at all costs, because clearly this is a couple of psychopaths that they're dealing with. I'm sorry you have to deal with that. I'm so sorry.
When I was in high school, to nobody's surprise, I didn't have a lot of friends, so I never really had any reason to invite anybody over to my house. But during my last year of high school, I had this really solid group of friends who I eventually invited over to my house, and one of them asked if they could bring their girlfriend. I didn't really know her. We were in the same year level. She was a bit of a... but I didn't really care. I didn't know her, so I didn't care. So anyway, everyone comes over, and at some point throughout the night, she really wants to see my bedroom. So I collect porcelain dolls, okay? And I started collecting porcelain dolls when I was about 11, 12, 13 maybe, I don't know. But at the time, I was very much a hoarder. So my bedroom was like overflowing with these dolls. And obviously I never saw it as a problem. No one ever expressed it being a problem. My mum always thought it was like kind of creepy, but like in a cool way. But like I said, I never had anyone to my house. So like I never received any other form of criticism. She looks into my room. She screams. Okay, that's not me being dramatic. She screams, and then she runs back outside to her boyfriend, and she makes her boyfriend comfort her, as in like she sits in his lap and he has to like... And then for the rest of the night, she couldn't help herself but to continuously bring up the fact that I had these dolls in my room and how weird it was and how much of a creep I am and like how could anybody sleep in a room like that and blah blah blah. And then when we ended up going back inside at some point so everyone could like go home, she refused to walk inside because you had to walk past my closed bedroom door to leave the house. And so because she refused to walk through the house, she wanted me to walk her around the back and then open the gate so she could walk around the house. And I was like, I don't know you, like they're dolls, get over it. I'm not going around there. Because it was like my house was on like a slope like this. I'm like, I'm not going around there. Just walk past my bedroom door. The door is closed. So instead she got her boyfriend to do it. And I was like, you know what? I don't care. If he's willing to put up with that, he can. I'm not. Also, I don't know how she did this, but at some point throughout the night, she got a photo of my room. I don't know when she did that, but she ended up with a photo of my bedroom, because when we went back to school, she was trying to like show people this room, and she was the one who cared the most about it. I don't know why it affected her so much. Anyway, the reason I'm saying this story is because the other day I found her on social media, and she's just as boring and predictable as she was back in the day. Don't let boring ass, basic ass people stop you from enjoying your harmless hobbies. I've seen so much hate recently towards people that collect like children's toys or brands catered towards kids, such as like Sanrio, like Hello Kitty, or like Strawberry Shortcake. I've seen a lot of hate towards people that collect porcelain dolls, you know, old news, clowns, puppets, stuff like that. And then when you see these people, like, of course they don't get it, you know what I mean? If you let the most like copy and paste people dictate what you can like and what you don't like and what you can enjoy as a hobby, to the point that you stop enjoying these like weird things, you're just gonna devalue yourself. I sound alpha male terminology, okay, sorry. You're just gonna devalue yourself to their level, okay?
So this is a story of why my brother and his wife are not invited to our wedding this summer. So the relationship with my sister-in-law has been really rocky. Basically the last, I would say, like 10 years. I'm 27, she's in her 40s, early 40s. They've been together for 18 years. My oldest niece is almost 18. So when they got together, I was really young. And she's just never been able to recognize that I'm an adult and can make my own decisions now. She said to me at one point that it's hard for her to not see an 8-year-old anymore. Which, to her credit, I can understand that to a point. But instead of trying to have a relationship with me as an adult, she has only ever treated me like a child. And really this decision was made after my sister-in-law posted on Facebook something that was just super hateful and obviously geared toward my sister and I. The post said something about aunts being so important in nieces and nephews' lives, and too bad that the only aunts in her kids' lives that choose her children are not blood relatives. And that was my final straw of being publicly embarrassed by her, I guess. And for the record, my brother's been in the military his whole, basically my whole life, and they've never lived in the same state as us. And when they got together was 18 years ago, so I was a literal child, and I couldn't choose to go where they were. They didn't come here very often, so it's not like they lived down the street and we just choose not to see them. Okay, there's so much to this story. I was really hoping I could get it down to the nitty gritty, but go to the next part to hear about wedding dress shopping, my dad being in emergency surgery, and family group texts. So the drama really started when we decided to not have our wedding here, to have our wedding in Mexico. And I didn't think that anyone was really going to be upset about that, because there was over a year of notice, and we let everyone know this is a really big ask, and we understand that it's a destination wedding, and even though it seems pretty affordable, that it's not realistic for everybody. And when I told my brother and his wife, she immediately, without even hesitation or thinking, said, we're not going to be able to come. And when I asked, why is it money? What is it? And she just had every reason in the book to say that they couldn't be there. And that was really disappointing to me, because my brother's one of my favorite people in the world. And that was just really hard and really disappointing. But that's not even the big deal. The big deal was I thought that there was a chance that they would still go, and they were in town, and I planned a trip wedding dress shopping for the very first time with my sister-in-law and my nieces, because I really thought that it would be a fun experience to share with them. I was so excited. It was me, my mom, my sister, my sister-in-law, and then my 2 nieces. And we get to the store. I got there early, and just because I know her, I literally had to get there to apologize to the poor girl that was working that day ahead of time because I did not know what my sister-in-law's behavior was going to be like. That in itself, I feel like should be really telling, and I should have known better, but I was right in apologizing ahead of time. So the very first dress I put on, it had a big train, and I told the girl, you know, I don't really think I want a big train because we're getting married in Mexico and I just don't want to have to worry about sand and dirt and whatever. And my sister-in-law literally looks up. I'm in a wedding dress standing on the little pedestal, and she goes, "So you're still planning on doing that?" And all I said was, "Yep." And she said, "Well, we're not going to be there." And my heart just started racing because I really didn't want any kind of confrontation or conflict. And so I just went and tried on another dress, and the girl was like, "You were right. That was rough." And that was so embarrassing to me. I was dying. So then we go through all the dresses, and the whole time, I won't post the pictures, but the whole time my sister's taking pictures of me in dresses. My mom's having a good time. Everyone's excited. But my sister-in-law is literally sat in the back like this. Stink face the whole time, like giving me the dirtiest, most hateful looks. And honestly, I don't know why I'm the one embarrassed, because really she should be embarrassed of her behavior. But that's not even the worst of it. The very cherry on top moment was when I put on the last dress. It was just kind of a for fun dress. It wasn't anything I was super interested in. I put it on, I come out, and I said, "Oh my gosh, this is definitely not it. I look like a linebacker. This makes my shoulders look so broad." Dead face looks at me in the mirror from behind me. I'm standing in the mirror looking at myself in a wedding dress, and she says, "You don't look like a linebacker. You look like a prepubescent little boy. That does absolutely nothing for you." And I am not exaggerating. I am not changing words. That is exactly what she said to me. And I just had tears just well up in my eyes. And I ran to the dressing room with the girl, and I just started bawling. I was just sobbing. And the cute girl, she was so sweet. And she just hugged me, and she was like, "I'm so sorry. That was so awful." And every time I've told this story, I feel like it sounds so made up. Like there's no way that was real life, but it was 100%. That is the kind of person that she is. And it was just so disappointing to me that was the experience I had the first time I was dress shopping. And that was me extending an olive branch. I was trying to do something nice. I was really trying to pacify the situation that I didn't even cause problems in, really. And that's how I was treated. It still blows my mind to this day. And I got in the car with my sister, and I was so angry. I called my fiance, and I was like, "That's it. We're done. I'm uninviting them. I want nothing to do with this. This is not fair that I was treated this way today, and that is forever going to be my first experience wedding dress shopping." And I said, "I'm going to call my brother." I was ready to just blow everything up and just really piss everyone off. And I decided against it because I don't want to cause problems. I don't want to be such a source of tension. And in that moment, I think it was the right decision. In hindsight, I wish I had said something sooner. All that to say, at this point, they were still invited. And there's a whole lot more that actually was the deciding factor in not inviting them. Scotty, my fiance, was the voice of reason in that moment and said, "Don't do something now that you're going to regret later." And I think that that's really wise, because it's easy for me to act out of emotion, where he was kind of outside the situation and understood I was upset and made me think things through a little bit.
Get ready with me while I talk about things from cosmetology school that would send a regular student into a coma. And as usual, I want you guys to be getting ready with me, so bookmark this video if you have to. You don't have to just get ready. You can garden, you can take a shit, you can literally do whatever you want, but we're on FaceTime right now. If we FaceTime before, then you probably know that I went to cosmetology school almost 3 years ago, and it was one of the most miserable experiences of my entire life, even though it led to me getting my license, which I'm very happy about. But cosmetology school is literally unlike anything I've ever experienced. And it's unlike most schools that are literally out there ever. Like even other trade schools, cosmetology school is completely different. So I wanted to give you guys some reasons why most people drop out and do not survive this experience. So first up, cosmetology school is hours based. So it's not like on a semester schedule. Unless you went to like a community college or you went to like a trade high school, you're basically doing it on the schedule of filling out the required hours for your state. So the state that I went to school in, the required hours was 1,500. So you don't graduate until you do 1,500 hours, which if you go every single day and miss no days and literally have no life and never get sick and never have a doctor's appointment and never do anything ever, then you probably finish that in like a little bit under a year. I think it's like 9 months, but you know, most people have lives and jobs and, you know, things to do. So that usually ends up being a little bit longer than a year, especially if you got sick like I did. So let me remind you, there's no semesters or anything. So you don't get a break. There's no vacation. There's no like summer break. There's no winter break. You are there all summer if you start in a time where you would be doing it this summer. You're there all winter. You're there through Christmas. Like I think you get like Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off and that's it. And I mean, I'm Jewish, so that doesn't really matter to me, but I also had to go on all of the Jewish holidays. And if I didn't go, they would still count it against my hours. Like I would still be missing hours. They just wouldn't charge me for it if I was over the limit, which I'll get into in a minute. So you're probably wondering like, what if you get sick or what if like literally anything happens to you? Like you do technically get 50 hours of free time to miss. However, 50 hours is literally like a little bit over a week. So it kind of sucks because yeah, you could take a week-long vacation, but then you have no sick time. And then if you have to leave early ever, a lot of the times you don't realize how much time you're like accruing, you know what word I'm trying to say, but you don't realize how much time is adding up. And most people, like I'd say probably 99% of my student body went over the 50 allotted missed time. If you're somebody like me who gets sick a lot, that really wasn't helpful. And also in the beginning, like I was doing shows and performing and stuff, and I was performing out of state. So there were times where I had to take like a few days off. And long story short, I'm pretty sure I used up all of my missing time in like the first like month of being there. And that brings me to the schedule. It's Tuesday through Saturday, 9 to 4:30. So, oh, you thought you were gonna have like a job and be able to make money while you're in cosmetology school? That's not gonna happen. Because cosmetology schools are like kind of hard to come by, you most likely won't live very close to the school that you go to. And if you're like me, you'll get roped into going to a big franchise school because they're gonna act like it's like the Ivy Leagues of cosmetology school, which now that I'm out of cosmetology school and pretty soon into it, I figured out there was no Ivy League. You would get a better education going to your community college. But long story short, mine was over an hour away. So I had a really long commute. So I had to leave at like 7:55 in the morning to get there at 9. Which you also have to account for parking because they don't have a parking lot, or at least they didn't have mine, and a lot of schools don't have a parking lot. And if you had to stay for makeup hours, which is the only way that you can have your grad date not be pushed back if you miss time, you would be there till 10 o'clock sometime. So there would be days where I would get there at 9 in the morning and not even get home like till like 11 o'clock, and then I'd have to get up and do it again the next day. And obviously this doesn't leave much time for work. And if you went to a school like mine, it's not very cheap to go there. And they expect like $3,000, $4,000 like once every few months. And you have to pay it. Even if you're under financial aid, it literally doesn't matter. They will penalize you and like take your hours away for the actual dumbest reasons. Like something that you learn very quickly is that you have to be in dress code. And at my school, that meant wearing all black. And you couldn't wear tank tops, you couldn't wear crop tops, you technically weren't supposed to wear leggings, but they were kind of like lax about that because like, what the fuck else were we supposed to wear? But if you were out of dress code, they'll send you home. So even if you showed up like ready to learn and you were literally just in like a navy blue shirt that you thought looked black, you're going home. And even more ridiculous, if you didn't like look good, like if you didn't do your hair or like try a little bit with your hair or try a little bit with your makeup, they would send you home too. So if you thought you could just roll out of bed for your hour-and-a-half commute and show up to school, you are sadly mistaken because your teacher will make you feel like shit and tell you that you need to go home because you don't look your best. They were also like extremely strict about being late, which like I would understand if you were like an hour late, but they had like a 15-minute cutoff mark. And like I said, they didn't have a parking lot and sometimes there would be traffic. So people would be late like all the time, especially people who have super long commutes. And there was this one time, this was the most ridiculous shit ever. So my friend, she was visiting her boyfriend at the time in New York, and she literally drove like over 4 hours to get to school, and she showed up at 9:17 and they sent her home. And then like the teacher like laughed in her face when she cried. Like it was actually like the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. It was the biggest power play, but like that's what these schools do. They also will literally find any reason to cut your hours. Like they don't think that you're like working hard enough. They just like won't give you the hour. That happened to me a few times. More like days where I just like wasn't feeling good. They'd be like, oh, like you were sitting down too much, so we're gonna take away your hour. Obviously, when you're there, you're doing people's hair and stuff, and sometimes whatever you'd be doing on someone's hair would take longer than 4:30, and you would have to stay and, you know, finish up their hair. But because it was past 4:30, you wouldn't get hours for anything past that. So let's say you were there from like, I don't know, like whatever time in the day, and technically you were supposed to leave at 4:30, you could be there till like 6 o'clock, and they would cut you off at 4:30, and you literally just did all this work to not receive any sort of credit for it. And sometimes, like, if you talk to the right teachers, you could like try and convince them to sign off on your stuff, but for the most part, like, you just aren't going to get credit for all of the work that you just put in. Remember how I said cosmetology school is expensive? Well, the entire time you're literally paying to work. That's literally what you do. Like, the first, like, I don't know, like, month of it, you're in, like, learning all the basic shit, but then once they put you on the floor, you are working half the day and you're doing people's hair for free. And the people that come in there are, like, fully fucking psychotic, and they will expect, like, years of experience out of a student and get mad over anything that you do. Like, the people that would come in to get their hair done at our school salon expected like Picasso levels of understanding of how to do hair. And when you didn't do a good job, like, they would literally like yell in your face and make you cry. And mind you, like, you were allowed to keep your tips, but some of these people, like, actually, like, most of these people, especially the crazy ones, like, wouldn't tip you. So now you just like worked for free for like, I don't know, like 5-6 hours of your life, and you got no tip, and someone like yelled at you and made you cry over something that is literally out of your control because you're still learning. Also, obviously, since you're there literally all the fucking time, and it's like a lot of girls and like everything, like, there are cliques that form, and there is so much fucking drama. Like, the like level of drama that happens at cosmetology school is so ridiculous. Like, you'll see people be like best friends with somebody, and then like a week later, like, they hate each other, and it's like a whole like rivalry, and they can't even like look at each other. And then also, like, a lot of people see it as kind of like a pissing contest. Like, a lot of people kind of saw school as like a competition, so they would like pit themselves against other people, and the other people would pit themselves against them. And like, the craziest situations would happen that literally never needed to happen. Like, for example, like, sometimes our teachers would give us these like little friendly competitions, like nail art competitions, or I don't know, just like updo competitions, and like the other students would literally pit themselves against each other. And it got to the point where, like, I remember like during one of the nail art competitions, like, somebody like literally like threw a full-on tantrum and stopped liking one of the other girls because she won. And then in another one, I think it was like an updo competition, like, somebody was like very sure that they were gonna win, and they didn't win, and they went in and like manually recounted the votes. And then when they realized that they definitely didn't win, they sobbed about it the entire day. Like, it's genuinely so dramatic. And like, these people were like such tryhards and such kiss asses to the teachers. So like, unfortunately, because the school is so small, like, there were always going to be favorites, and the people who sucked up like that usually were the favorites. Or it would be somebody that like literally clearly didn't give a fuck about their education. It was like literally that and no in between. It made no sense. And also, because there were so many favorites, like, there were so many times where like people would like clock out and like literally go to the bar next door and get like obliteratedly drunk while they're on the clock, and then come back, and the teachers like wouldn't say anything. Or they would like go in their car and like smoke and come back like reeking like weed, and they wouldn't get in trouble. But then you would come in like, I don't know, like 5-10 minutes late one time, and they would like dock you off a whole hour. Like, literally, when I tell you like the favoritism goes fucking crazy, the shit that some people were able to get away with versus others is unhinged. Also, not to mention, like, when you go to a big franchise school like I did, you won't know this till you get there, but it's literally a cult. They will make you watch these like 2-3 hour movies where it's just like convincing you that the company, like, or like the brand that you go to the school for is like the greatest thing since fucking sliced bread. Like, that it's literally like life changing, that you should never use another brand, when the whole time like the brand sucks, and then you end up never using any brands in school, and you have to learn all these new brands when you graduate. Also, I forgot to mention earlier, you will just have like really creepy men that come in and just want to like flirt and like stalk and harass the girls, and the administration literally won't do anything about it. And also, if you have any sort of like learning disability or accommodations, like, you better kiss those goodbye, because you're not getting those either. Like, when I was in school, the administrator literally told me that like they cannot take my accommodations unless I got a new and updated psych eval, which I then found out was literally a bull-faced lie, because they just didn't want to accommodate me. And I literally had to threaten them with a lawsuit, because like, what the fuck? Speaking of the administration, nepotism. They will literally just hire fucking anybody. And the people that they hire will literally have no fucking idea what they're doing. Their whole goal is to just kind of like get people in the door and to pay the like $20,000 tuition. And then once you're in, like, they don't really care about you anymore. Like, they couldn't actually give less of a fuck. And yeah, most of your class will drop out. I'd say that probably like 15% of the people that I saw start cosmetology school did not finish. And you will end up not knowing how to do hair by the end of it. That's the craziest part. Normally in other trades, like, yes, you'll work under somebody for the first few years, but you'll kind of know what you're doing enough. Like, in cosmetology, like, you won't be able to do anything.
technically under your cosmetology license, you're supposed to be learning how to do nails, waxing, like spa related stuff, and makeup. And cosmetology school is the only school where you will go to your class and your teacher will put on a YouTube video, and that is how you will learn how to do any of those things that are not hair. All in all, I learned the hard way that the cosmetology school experience is really just to pass the state board, and you really only learn how to like do hair once you start working in a salon. And I'm still very glad I did it. It was very rewarding when I graduated, and now I'm actually starting to do hair and learning. So I'm very happy about that. But do I think cosmetology schools need to be run completely differently? Absolutely. I think that many more people would survive in this industry if every school was run a different way. But I'm sure people have a lot to complain about when it comes to other types of schools as well.